Donald Trump is at it again, and this time his desperation is showing more than ever. The U.S. president just returned to his tired old pitch of trying to convince Canada to become America's 51st state, using his Golden Dome missile defense system as bait. But here's the thing, this isn't leadership, it's begging, and it's a strategy that has already spectacularly backfired. Speaking to military officials in Virginia on Tuesday, Trump revealed he had another conversation with an unnamed Canadian official about his annexation fantasy.
And Canada called me a couple of weeks ago. They want to be part of it. To which I said, well, why don't you just join our country? You become 51, become the 51st state, and you get it for free. So I don't know if that made a big impact, but it does make a lot of sense.
The exchange perfectly captures Trump's delusional approach to diplomacy. When Canada inquired about participating in the missile defense program, Trump's response was to suggest they surrender their sovereignty entirely. Let's talk about what's really happening here. Trump is essentially admitting that his Golden Dome system, which he claims will cost $175 billion, is so expensive and so questionable that he's willing to give it away, just to get Canada to surrender its sovereignty. That's not the behavior of a confident leader making a strong offer. That's the behavior of a desperate salesman trying to unload a product nobody wants.
And Canada called me a couple of weeks ago. They want to be part of it. To which I said, well, why don't you just join our country? You become 51, become the 51st state, and you get it for free. So I don't know if that made a big impact, but it does make a lot of sense.
The Golden Dome system itself is Trump's attempt to recreate Ronald Reagan's failed Star Wars program from the 1980s. It's supposed to be a space-based missile defense network that can shoot down threats from anywhere in the world. Sounds impressive, right? Except the Congressional Budget Office estimates the real cost could balloon to over $800 billion over 20 years. And that's just to protect the United States, not Canada. Trump has been playing this same broken record for months now. Earlier this year, he demanded Canada pay $61 billion to join the Golden Dome program. When that didn't work, he raised the price to $71 billion. Now he's back to offering it for free, but only if Canada gives up everything that makes it Canada. It's like a used car salesman who keeps changing the deal because nobody's buying. But here's where Trump's strategy has completely blown up in his face. His constant threats and annexation talk didn't intimidate Canada. They energized it. Mark Carney, who became Canada's prime minister earlier this year, literally won his election by standing up to Trump's bullying.
Blanchette was trying to say, well, you said you'd negotiate a deal with them and you didn't. And when was the last time you were in Washington? And when are you going to see him next? And Carney said, well, I don't need to go to Washington. The president of the United States is a modern man. And we exchange text messages all the time. And he also said that we've got the best deal with the United States. Remember back to the election campaign? He said, Donald Trump wants to break us so that America can own us. We got the same tariff that Trump was talking about back then. And now it's the best deal in the world? The elbows are definitely down.
Canadian voters were so outraged by Trump's disrespect that they rallied behind the candidate who promised to fight back. The Liberal Party was struggling in polls until Trump started his annexation rhetoric. Canadian voters, traditionally friendly to the United States, were so outraged by the disrespect that they rallied behind Carney's anti-Trump message. Trump literally campaign managed Carney into office. Carney has been crystal clear in his response to Trump's latest overture. When asked for comment, his spokesperson simply pointed to the many comments they've made in the past on similar comments from the president. That's diplomatic speak, for we've already told you no, and we're not dignifying this with a new response. And Carney's previous responses have been devastating. When Trump first floated the 51st state idea during their initial meeting, Carney told him that as a property developer, he should know there are some places that are never for sale. When Trump said never say never, Carney responded with 5 emphatic nevers in their face-to-face meeting.
He is successful in ending that war. He believes he deserves the Nobel Peace Prize. And of course, Arthi, as you mentioned, he took aim at Canada, once again resurfacing the 51st state comments, saying that if Canada wants to join the Golden Dome missile defense system, they should just join the U.S. And he also said that Canada had been struggling because of tariffs.
That's not the response of a country considering surrender. That's the response of a nation that's had enough. The reality is that Trump's approach has been a complete strategic disaster. Instead of building a strong partnership with America's closest ally and largest trading partner, he spent months insulting, threatening, and trying to extort them. He's called their former prime minister a governor, imposed punishing tariffs on Canadian goods, and repeatedly suggested they're not a real country. What has this accomplished? It's pushed Canada to look elsewhere for partnerships. Carney has been courting European allies, working with the United Kingdom and France, and even collaborating with Australia on new defense systems for the Canadian Arctic. Trump's aggression has literally driven Canada into the arms of other allies. The irony is thick here. Trump claims the U.S. is subsidizing Canada, but the facts tell a different story. Canada is actually the United States' largest trading partner. They buy more American goods than any other country. They provide crucial energy resources, including oil that flows south every day. They're America's partner in NORAD, the Joint Air Defense System that has protected North America for decades. But Trump's transactional worldview can't see past the immediate deal. He's so focused on trying to extract maximum short-term advantage that he's destroying long-term relationships. His approach to Canada is Exhibit A in how not to conduct diplomacy with your closest allies. The Golden Dome system itself reveals another layer of Trump's desperation. Military experts have pointed out that the United States isn't actually under threat from its neighbors, Canada and Mexico, and is protected by two vast oceans. The current U.S. missile defense system is already capable of handling threats from rogue states like North Korea. So why the massive, expensive expansion? The answer seems to be that Trump fell in love with the idea after watching Israel's Iron Dome in action during Iranian attacks. But scaling up a system designed to protect a country the size of New Jersey to cover the entire North American continent is an entirely different challenge. It's like trying to use a bicycle helmet to protect a football stadium. Defense contractors are certainly excited about the potential windfall from this massive project.
Everyone's coming into our country. We have more investment than we've ever had before, $17 trillion coming in. As an example, in 4 years, Biden didn't have $1 trillion. We have $17 trillion more than that in 8 months coming in. And they're coming in from Canada, Mexico, from Europe, from all over. AI, auto plants. Everybody's coming back to the United States.
Lockheed Martin has already started marketing materials calling the Golden Dome a revolutionary concept. But when your main selling point is getting other countries to pay for your expensive military toys, you're not exactly projecting strength. Meanwhile, Trump's repeated claims that Canada is having a hard time after being hit by his tariffs reveal his fundamental misunderstanding of the situation. Yes, the tariffs have created challenges for Canadian businesses and consumers, but they've also galvanized Canadian public opinion against Trump and strengthened support for leaders who promise to stand up to American bullying. The broader implications of Trump's failed Canada strategy extend far beyond North America. America's allies around the world are watching how Trump treats Canada, a country that shares the world's longest undefended border with the United States, has fought alongside America in every major conflict for over a century, and has been one of its most reliable partners. If Trump is willing to threaten and attempt to extort Canada, what message does that send to other allies? It tells them that American partnership comes with strings attached, that sovereignty is conditional, and that even the closest relationships can be weaponized for political gain. This is exactly the opposite of the peace through strength doctrine that Trump claims to follow. Real strength comes from building coalitions of willing partners, not from trying to bully your friends into submission. Real leadership means finding win-win solutions, not demanding that others surrender their independence for the privilege of paying for your expensive military projects. Trump's approach to Canada also reveals the shallow nature of his negotiating philosophy. He seems to believe that every interaction is a zero-sum game where someone has to win and someone has to lose. But international relations, especially between close allies, require a more sophisticated approach. They require understanding that sometimes the best deal is the one where everyone feels they've gained something. The Golden Dome offer perfectly encapsulates this failed approach. Instead of proposing a genuine partnership where both countries contribute according to their capabilities and both benefit from enhanced security, Trump is essentially saying, give up your country and we'll throw in some free defense systems. It's insulting and it completely misreads the Canadian character. Canadians are proud of their distinct identity, their universal healthcare system, their multicultural values, and their independent foreign policy. They're not looking to become Americans, they're looking to remain Canadians while maintaining a strong relationship with their southern neighbor. Trump's inability to understand this basic reality has turned what should be America's easiest diplomatic relationship into one of its most strained. The most telling aspect of Trump's latest comments is his admission that he doesn't know if his pitch made a big impact. This suggests he's operating without any real feedback mechanism, making offers without understanding how they're being received, and doubling down on strategies that clearly aren't working. A competent leader would have recognized months ago that the annexation rhetoric was counterproductive and would have shifted to a more collaborative approach. They would have emphasized shared values, mutual benefits, and respect for sovereignty while working toward common goals. Instead, Trump keeps returning to the same failed playbook. As Trump continues to push his Golden Dome system, claiming it will shift trillions of dollars worth of investments to the United States, he's missing the bigger picture. The real investment that matters is the investment in relationships, trust, and mutual respect. And by that measure, his Canada strategy has been a complete failure. The ultimate irony is that Trump's behavior is achieving exactly the opposite of what he claims to want. Instead of bringing Canada closer to the United States, he's pushing it away. Instead of strengthening North American security cooperation, he's creating divisions. Instead of projecting American strength, he's revealing American desperation. Carney's response, pointing to previous statements rather than dignifying the latest offer with a detailed response, shows how little credibility Trump has left in this relationship. When your negotiating partner stops taking you seriously enough to provide substantive responses, you've lost whatever leverage you thought you had. Trump's Canada gambit represents everything wrong with his approach to international relations. The transactional thinking, the disrespect for allies, the inability to understand other countries' perspectives, and the belief that bullying is the same as negotiating. It's a masterclass in how not to conduct diplomacy, and the results speak for themselves. As this saga continues, one thing is clear: Trump's desperate attempts to make Canada the 51st state have only succeeded in making Canada more determined than ever to remain the proud, independent nation it has always been. And that might be the most fitting outcome of all.